Hey, welcome to Facebook. My name is Justin Sua. Thanks for joining us here on Sua Sports Psychology Facebook page. Today I want to share with you a peak performance tip. I want to teach you a new word, a word that many of you probably are very unfamiliar with. You've never heard it, but it's something that you've probably experienced before, whether it's either helped you or even hurt you. The word is to catastrophize. Catastrophize. Now the root word in there is catastrophe. And as you know, catastrophe meaning devastation, something that's a big deal. Now, the word catastrophize it could either help you or it could either hurt you. First, I'm going to talk about the negative aspect of someone who catastrophizes. You might know somebody like this. Do you know someone who makes a big deal out of little things? And this can happen on or off the field. And in performance, in sport, this is that person who, if you strike out, it's such a devastating event, striking out in a game, that you carry it onto the field with you and you hold on to it and you just can't let it go for an entire game. Some people hold on to it for a whole inning, some people it's multiple innings, some people hold on to strikeouts the entire game. That's making a big deal out of something that shouldn't be the case. Basketball players, you miss 1, 2, 3 shots in a row, all of a sudden you want to quit basketball because you think you're the worst player to ever live. That's catastrophizing. A football player who drops a pass or a quarterback who overthrows or gets picked off. Catastrophizing. Thinking it's the worst thing that could ever happen. Be very, very careful with catastrophizing. It's common and it's something that's so subtle that if you don't pay attention to it, if you're not aware of it, it can hurt your performance tremendously. It all starts in the mind. It all starts with those thoughts. Oh no, here we go again. Oh, just like I've been doing all these other times. It starts in the thoughts, it affects your emotions, and then it leaks out into your performance. Catastrophizing. Making a big deal out of something that shouldn't be. So that's the negative aspect of catastrophizing. However, believe it or not, just like other things in this world, that one thing that can hurt your performance can also help your performance. It's kind of like fire. You can use fire to warm your house, to cook your food, or it can burn you. So it's all how you control it. Catastrophizing is the same thing. We're going to talk about fear first. How it can help you overcome fear. Fear, just remember this, fear is a liar. Fear will affect the way that you see things as they really are. Fear, a lot of times, what happens is we take an event. We're not afraid of this certain thing in particular, but the thing that scares us is our interpretation of it. And so that's where you bring catastrophization in. You catastrophize it. And so basically what you can do, what I do with athletes who share with me their fears, I always do this. If you work with me, I'll always ask you, what are you afraid of? And I've heard many different things, from failure to messing up to embarrassing myself to getting hurt, a whole bunch of different things. And so one of the first things we do with athletes is, here's another interesting word, we intellectualize it. We intellectualize it, or in other words, we try to logically think about this fear. Because fear thrives on emotions. It thrives. It loves emotions. And then emotions pop in, and then it affects the way we feel. It affects everything. But the thing that starves your fear is thinking, intellectualizing it. And so we use catastrophize, and we say, okay, let's take your fear. And what's the worst possible thing that can happen? Let's say you do lose 2, 3, 4, 5 games in a row. Let's say you do mess up. Let's say you do strike out 5 times in one game. That's unheard of. What then? And it's really interesting to see the athletes, how they respond. They say, well, it's really not that big of a deal. Now that's what catastrophizing does. It's detaching the emotion from the actual event so you can see it clearly. It's kind of like turning on the lights in a haunted house, where you end up looking around and saying, oh, it's really not that scary. That's a human being who's behind that monster's mask. That's my friend who's behind that door. Catastrophizing. It can either help you overcome fears by seeing things as they really are, or it can hurt you and have you make such a big deal of things that aren't that big of a deal. Catastrophization. That's a key word. That's a word that you can go and you can use and you can think about. You can use it to help you, or you can use it to hurt you. It's your choice. Thanks for joining us here on Sua Sports Psychology Facebook page. We'll keep more of these coming. Keep performing on purpose with purpose.